Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place that tries to cut through the noise, get straight to the core of these complex stories. And today, we are definitely diving deep. We're looking into a really chilling series of unresolved mysteries, cold cases from Placer County, California. Pretty quiet communities, typically. We've pulled together quite a bit of material for you. We've got investigative reports, things like A Tale of Three Vanishings and a Killer's Shadow. Official databases, too, like the NamUs missing person entry for one case, state guidelines on missing persons investigations, plus news articles, even some Reddit discussions. A real mix. So our goal here for you is to really pull out the key details from all this. We want you to grasp the puzzling facts, the coincidences that really stand out, the challenges investigators faced, and this lingering question about a potential serial killer, specifically the Golden State Killer.
What's really fascinating, I think, is how these cases, they seem separate at first, right? Decades apart, different circumstances maybe. But when you start looking closely, critically, they begin to weave this potential narrative. It's unproven, we have to stress that, but it's there.
Yeah.
We're not just listing facts, we're digging into the questions, the ones that just haven't gone away.
Okay, let's start at the beginning then. The earliest case we're looking at, a murder back in 1983, Jenny Sperinde. It really shook the small town of Cool, California. Jenny was 69 years old, highly respected, a former elementary school teacher, big family mother of 8, grandmother of 28, just, beloved. She was last seen January 18th, 1983. She was leaving St. Joseph's Catholic Church in Auburn. Then, just 2 days later, her great-nephew finds her body. Outside her own home, a rural place. She'd been bludgeoned. Her purse was gone, but apparently nothing else was taken.
And the really striking thing here right from the start, almost no evidence, like virtually none. No forensics to speak of, no witnesses, no solid leads. And you mentioned she was well-loved, right?
Yep.
But even so, the case just sort of faded from the headlines surprisingly quickly.
It really did, which is strange in itself.
That lack of evidence, it sets the kind of pattern or maybe a warning for what comes later. Is it just random chance, no trace left? Or is it someone who already knew how to be invisible even back then?
Exactly. And then, just 2 years after Jenny Sperinde in 1985, we get another really shocking incident. And this one has some truly bizarre parallels. Mary Lloyd. Mary was also 69 years old and very petite. The reports say 4'10", maybe 90 pounds, from Auburn. So June 25th, 1985. She attends Mass at St. Joseph's Catholic Church.
The same church.
The very same church Jenny Sperinde attended. Afterwards, Mary stops at a Safeway supermarket, also in Auburn. It's morning around 9:40 a.m. She's in her car in the parking lot, and this man approaches her. Described as well-dressed, heavy-set, in his 40s, dark complexion. He pulls out a pistol, forces his way in or forces her over, and speeds off in her car.
And witnesses initially thought she was a child because she was so small.
Yeah, that detail is just chilling.
It really is. An abduction, broad daylight, busy parking lot. And that detail about her size potentially being why she was mistaken for a child, it really speaks to maybe a specific vulnerability being targeted.
Absolutely. Now, the Auburn police chief at the time was Nick Willick. He actually knew the Lloyd family. He was friends with Mary's son, Tim. So the police response was immediate, very strong. But the kidnapper, he managed to get away. Her car was seen about 5 hours later, heading east on I-80.
So he gets away clean initially.
Initially, yes. But then, 6 days later, the car turns up, way down south, 400 miles away in North Hollywood, just parked on Victory Boulevard. And the description of the car is key. It was meticulously cleaned. But crucially, some bloodstains were apparently still visible.
Meticulously cleaned.
And the interior light bulb had been removed. Chief Willick himself said it looked like the car was intentionally left to be found.
Okay, see that detail. The cleaning, the missing light bulb. That just screams something more than a simple car theft gone wrong. Anyone familiar with investigations or, frankly, criminal methods?
Yeah.
That's a signature. It suggests someone who understands evidence, understands police procedure. Deliberate.
Chillingly deliberate, yeah. Then, 5 days after the car was found, so July 6th, they find Mary Lloyd's body. It was back up near Auburn, in Applegate, actually found near Chief Willick's parents' home.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, no usable physical evidence recovered from her body. The belief was stab wounds, possible sexual assault. Her body was hidden sort of quickly under some branches.
Any suspects at the time?
Well, an eyewitness later identified a man named Charles T. Sinclair. He was known as the coin shop killer. Sinclair had a history of violent robberies, and he'd killed a couple for their car before. And apparently he also meticulously cleaned that car. So there's speculation, that police might have thought Sinclair was a good fit, but they just didn't have the hard evidence to pin it on him?
So zooming out again, you see this pattern maybe. Targeting vulnerable women, similar age, public places, but leaving very little behind forensically. And that car in the Lloyd case, 400 miles away, cleaned, missing light bulb. It feels almost like it was staged, like leaving a calling card maybe, or just maximum confusion.
It raises so many questions about the perpetrator's mindset, and this brings us forward almost 3 decades later to 2013. This is where it gets really perplexing for investigators in the modern era. Susan Jacobson's disappearance in Roseville. Susan was 5'9", also petite, like Mary Lloyd, about 4'11", 90 pounds. Lived in Sun City, Roseville. Described as quiet, shy, maybe some social anxiety. She was apparently really looking forward to her first grandchild being born.
Okay, so another potentially vulnerable target profile.
It seems that way. So May 1st, 2013, early morning. Her husband, Chris, leaves for the gym around 6 a.m., comes back around 7:30 a.m. Sometime in that window, or maybe earlier, between 4 a.m. and noon is the estimate, Susan leaves their house. She's going to run errands, starting with grocery shopping at Rally's. Apparently, she liked to go early to avoid the crowds. Then, around 8 a.m., a jogger finds her wallet. It's on a sidewalk near the Rally's shopping center.
Or wallet, just lying there.
Yeah. But it's empty. No cash, no credit cards, just her driver's license inside. The jogger turns it into a nearby Starbucks. Her car, a blue Honda Civic, is found later. It's parked right in the middle of the Rally's lot where she usually parked. Unlocked. Inside the car, her purse is there, undisturbed, minus the wallet, obviously. But her keys seem to be missing or maybe left behind at home. It's unclear. She didn't use a cell phone. And crucially, none of her credit cards were ever used after she vanished.
So, wallet dumped nearby, empty, car unlocked, purse inside, keys may be gone. It's odd. It seems almost messy, disorganized. But then she's just gone. In a busy shopping center area in 2013 with presumably more cameras around. How does someone just vanish without a single trace?
That's the baffling part.
It suggests either incredible speed and efficiency in the abduction, if that's what it was, or maybe it's meant to look messy. Intentional confusion again.
And the investigation hit wall after wall. There were like 15 businesses nearby, 2 banks with ATMs, lots of potential surveillance. But the police said the video failed to provide any leads. Couldn't clearly capture Susan, her car, any suspicious activity. There was some footage that might have shown her car entering the lot, but it was apparently too unclear. They even sent it to the FBI for enhancement. Still nothing definite.
So the technology failed them there, essentially.
Seems like it. Even sent dogs. The initial police dogs found nothing. Over a month later, a private volunteer group brought dogs. Their dogs supposedly picked up Susan's scent from the Rally's lot, tracked it towards a nearby aquatic center, then lost it. But, the reliability of scent trails after that much time.
Yeah, that's highly debatable. Scents degrade quickly, days usually, maybe weeks in perfect conditions, but over a month, very unlikely to be reliable.
Right. And then there's the husband, Chris Jacobson. He reported her missing, denied any involvement, but he did refuse a polygraph test, said it was on his attorney's advice.
Which, as you said, is standard legal advice. Doesn't imply guilt, but it always casts a shadow in the public eye, doesn't it? Especially when there's just nothing else, no physical evidence.
Exactly. Police had no sign of foul play in the car itself, and basically no new evidence has been found for years. The family even stopped updating a public Facebook page around 2015, just silence.
It's that classic cold case scenario. No body, no definitive crime scene, no witnesses, technology failing, and maybe a hint of suspicion that can't be proven or disproven. Just gone.
But there was a recent development, relatively speaking. May 2021, Roseville police announced they were reopening the case.
Oh, okay.
They specifically mentioned hoping for new leads using advanced technology, including DNA tech and significantly familial DNA matching.
That's huge. Familial DNA has cracked some incredibly cold cases recently. It means even if the perpetrator isn't in the database, a relative might be. It can blow a case wide open.
Right. They also plan to re-interview witnesses, which is standard procedure when reopening a case like this, following updated guidelines.
So there's still hope for answers in Susan's case, thanks to tech advancements.
Definitely a glimmer. Which leads us now to the connection that hangs over all of these cases, potentially. The Golden State Killer, Joseph DeAngelo. His arrest and conviction really sent shockwaves, and it made people look back at other unsolved crimes in areas he was known to frequent, including Placer County.
And DeAngelo's background is just tailor-made for this kind of speculation, isn't it? A former police officer, he actually worked for the Auburn Police Department, 1976 to 1979, under Chief Nick Willick.
The same Chief Willick who investigated Mary Lloyd's disappearance. The same chief who later fired DeAngelo for shoplifting, ironically, a hammer and dog repellent.
So he knew Auburn. He knew police procedures from the inside. That knowledge is terrifying when you think about how he operated.
Absolutely. His MO was known for being meticulous, avoiding surveillance, supposedly listening to police radios, leaving almost no physical evidence behind, except, of course, the DNA that eventually caught him. He had tactics like approaching women near their cars, punching them to stun them, removing porch light bulbs before attacks, and significantly, meticulously cleaning victims' cars.
That cleaning detail just resonates, doesn't it? Of the light bulbs. It's about control, planning, understanding how not to be seen, how not to leave traces. And experts have suggested, that as he got older, his MO might have changed, maybe shifted towards victims who were less able to fight back. Smaller, older women, perhaps.
Like Mary Lloyd and Susan Jacobson.
Potentially. And think about DNA technology. By the mid-'80s, cases like Colin Pitchfork in the UK were making headlines. DeAngelo, being police savvy, was almost certainly aware of these advancements. Could he have consciously decided to stop leaving DNA evidence after a certain point? Changed his methods entirely?
It's a chilling thought. Let's look at the specific connections. Mary Lloyd's case. The geographic links are just undeniable. DeAngelo lived less than 5 minutes from that Safeway in Auburn where she was taken.
Wow.
The Auburn Police Department, where he worked, it's literally right across the street from St. Joseph's Catholic Church.
Where both Lloyd and Sperendid were before they encountered their attackers.
Exactly. And you mentioned Chief Willick earlier. Willick apparently suspected DeAngelo of being a peeper near his own house, which was next door to Mary Lloyd's home.
So DeAngelo might have even been familiar with that specific neighborhood, maybe even stalking.
It's possible. And remember how the kidnapper evaded roadblocks after taking Mary? Suggests tactical knowledge.
Police tactics, yeah.
Then the car showing up in North Hollywood, where DeAngelo was believed to be living around that time, and that meticulous cleaning, the removed light bulb, it matches his known behavior almost perfectly.
The parallels are incredibly strong for the Lloyd case. It's hard to dismiss them as coincidence.
For Jenny Sperend, it's less direct, but the timing fits. DeAngelo was an Auburn police officer when she was murdered in 1983. He was in the vicinity.
Right. Opportunity and proximity.
Now, Susan Jacobson, nearly 30 years later, 2013, in Roseville. The geography is compelling again. For decades, DeAngelo worked as a mechanic. His job was at the Save Mart distribution center in Roseville. That distribution center is just a couple of miles from the Raleys where Susan Jacobson's car was found.
That's close. Very close.
And get this. Susan Jacobson's husband also worked at an adjacent grocery distribution center right there.
So their paths, or at least their workplaces, were practically overlapping.
It seems possible. And then there's the potential MO fit. That idea of targeting smaller, potentially more vulnerable women later in his career, Susan Jacobson fits that profile.
Right. And some analysts noted, this weird combination of sophistication, like knowing forensics, combined with petty theft, like maybe emptying the wallet, and then extreme violence or disappearance.
Yeah.
That strange mix was also seen in DeAngelo's confirmed crimes.
What's really insightful, or maybe disturbing, is what people like Paul Holes have said, the investigator who helped crack the case.
Yeah.
He and others strongly suspect DeAngelo was much more prolific than the official count of his crimes. That he didn't just stop in 1986. There are reports he was still prowling, still engaging in, let's say, suspicious behavior right up until he was arrested in 2018.
And he never confessed, did he? Not to the details, not to anything beyond what they had him pinned for.
No, he left this huge, dark void, all these unanswered questions about what else he might have done.
Which leads to that really unsettling thought. Could victims who simply disappeared, especially after the mid-'80s or 90s, be linked to him? If he adapted his methods, stopped leaving DNA, became even better at making people vanish, then cases like Susan Jacobson's, where the main feature is the lack of evidence. Could that actually be his evolved signature?
So these three cases, Jenny Sperend, Mary Lloyd, Susan Jacobson, they remain these open wounds for Placer County, defined by that frustrating lack of hard evidence. But the threads connecting them, they're intriguing, aren't they? The victim profiles, the locations near cars or churches, the minimal forensic traces.
They are. It's circumstantial, of course, but compelling.
And what offers some hope looking forward is seeing Susan Jacobson's case reopen, armed with that modern DNA tech, the computing power. It really shows how technology might finally break through these decades-old walls.
Absolutely. And putting it in that bigger picture, the Shadow DeAngelo case, because it forces us to maybe rethink how we view serial offenders. Are they always caught eventually? Do they always stick to one MO? Or can they evolve, adapt, become ghosts? It makes you question not just who did it, but why some cases stay cold. Is it just bad luck? Or is it sometimes the mark of a truly meticulous, evolving predator?
So, for you listening, what does this all really mean? Maybe consider this. What if someone like DeAngelo, with police training, with decades of practice, consciously evolved to leave nothing detectable, chose victims who could vanish cleanly? In that scenario, could the very absence of evidence, the lack of clues, actually be the signature, a signature of concealment?
A chilling thought.
And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other cases are out there filed away as missing persons with no leads that might warrant another look through this specific terrifying lens? This deep dive, I think, it leaves us with that thought. Absence of evidence isn't always absence of crime. Sometimes, maybe, it's the mark of a master. We hope keeping these stories alive, asking these questions, helps in some small way, and reminds us how technology, persistence, maybe even just a fresh look might finally bring truth to light, even in the coldest cases.